And welcome in. A very happy now, Monday here, March the 11th. It is InGame Live, and we are PrimeTime here on the SportsGrid Network. Joe Raineri alongside Dave Sharapan. Taylor Mathis will stop by here as we have got plenty to go over here, including currently right now we've got some NBA action underway, 2 games, in fact. Both of which I actually invested in. So that's either going to be very good news or very bad news here. But the Pistons on top of the Hornets in a battle of the bottom, 53-46. Don't forget the Suns trying to turn the ship around. Good scheduling spot against the Cavs, who are coming off a loss last night here. It is 36-30, though. Cavs getting it done there, and we are waiting a couple of moments away from the Dallas Mavericks taking on the Chicago Bulls, not to mention the Warriors taking on the San Antonio Spurs here. Interesting game in that matchup there, Dave. And, we got a bunch of conference tournaments going on as well in college hoops. So we got a little something for everybody here, Dave. Is there any of these NBA games that tickle your fancy right off the bat?
I couldn't understand. Joe, first of all, great to see you. Steer the ship home today, baby. You're driving, I'm riding passenger. We're going back and forth. Great time of year, right? The week before the big tournament. We get all these schools that people are seeing for the first time, and they're watching games going, oh, I should bet on this, I should bet on that, when we've been talking about these teams and stuff going on all season. So, fun day. NBA-wise, Pistons. Got to be the Pistons. I can't believe the line, though. I was like, maybe money line might be better. Under in that game, that's where we're at. Charlotte and Detroit. Phoenix and Cleveland, hard pass, but I want the dog. I saw the number and said, all right, I don't understand what's going on. I know nobody's playing for Cleveland. I know it's a great spot. Makes all the perfect sense in the world. I'm just not sold on Phoenix laying 6.5 on the road against anybody. But that's about it, really. I mean, the NBA's got a nice slate rest of the way, but like Towson at College of Charleston's coming down to the end. That's a battle. Cleveland State and Oakland, another game. Looking at that going, all right, what do we do with this, right? I mean, tied at halftime, 38-38. 4 favorites today in hockey, Joe. If you look at the we'll get to the hockey in a little bit. Oh, there it is right there. Great work by Patrick. There's the hockey slate. Devils at the Rangers, Blues at the Bruins, Washington at Winnipeg. Obviously, you know the scores because you're checking. But a 3-team money line parlay there, that looked like an all-home team win. Except the Blues didn't get the memo. They're up 2-0 in the first period.
Yeah, and they're on a power play. It's even worse. They did just end the first period there, though, 2-0. But the Rangers Devils, I thought was going to be interesting here tonight too. They too have, I think, played one, still no score. Winnipeg just put the puck in the net there, so it's 1-0 over the Capitals. Good spot for Winnipeg, not a great spot for the Capitals, and we'll have the Kings and the Islanders coming up a little bit later there. Also, in the NBA tonight, we'll have 2 games with huge, absolutely huge spreads and zero implications for anything, as Toronto will be taking on the champs there, the Denver Nuggets, and don't forget Celtics taking on Portland. But I do find the Mavericks-Bulls game to be interesting here, coming up to say the least here, Dave, given that, Dallas has actually finally, as I've been looking for through this injury report, and a clean bill of health here. Not a bad way to go. In Chicago, I mean, can we be realistic here with, I know what I see you putting it on, Mr. Caruso, but Chicago on this show alone over the last couple of weeks, Dave, has made us a few bucks here. And they have been pretty darn good here, certainly against the number. So, do we trust them at home, though, against Dallas here, getting points?
Do we trust Dallas laying points on the road?
That's a good point, too.
Right?
Yeah.
That's the hard part. I don't know if I trust Chicago, but I know I don't trust Dallas laying points on the road. Caruso night, I don't know how it keeps happening, but every Monday and every Thursday, the Bulls play. We come on, we talk about the Bulls games. I got the headband handy. Hopefully, Taylor will come on with the Caruso prop or something because it won last time it worked. I don't know. It's Bulls or nothing. I don't know. It just can't. Pre-game,
let me
it's
ask
Bulls
you
or
this,
nothing.
though. Let me ask you this, though, because here's the spot, guys. Number one, we know Dallas as a road favorite this year, 14-3 straight up, as well as 14-3 against the number. So Dallas has been very good when favored on the road. Okay. Chicago, when you look back here, Dave, they just got back from, a 4 or 5 game road trip over a week. We know a lot of guys that want nothing to do with teams, their first game back after a long road trip, right? Yep. But I don't know, does that still carry weight these days here? I mean, I got it. You've been gone for a week. You got to come back, the family and everything else, kind of distractions here. But I always thought maybe that was a good thing for some teams to be able to get back home and sleep in their own bed.
Sometimes it is, and sometimes it isn't. I know I went to North Carolina for about 72 hours, and I came back, and I was a mess for 2 days. So yeah, I think the east to west back trip messes you up. Yeah. I think west to east, and you do that trip, and I think you can come back with a little more function. I don't know. I just think about all the things you got to take care of. I mean, you with the dog and this and that. I don't know. I don't know if they're ready. I don't know if they're ready to play, but I didn't realize that Dallas was that good on the road against the spread.
Unreal.
That makes me nervous
as
now.
a favorite. Only as a favorite. That when they're a dog, they're trash. They're a dog for a reason. So which just means they beat up on bad teams.
Fair. And totally I still don't know if the Bulls are a good team or bad team. I think they're right in the middle.
I'm with you.
Some nights they look like they can actually win a couple games in the playoffs, and other times they look like they got no shot of even getting out of the play-in. Joe, you mentioned that late game or the later game, Toronto and Denver. How in the hell do you make a number for this? This was always one of the struggles that I had doing the NBA numbers, trying to make a number. Because legitimately, this could be that game tonight where we could be on in the back hour of the show and looking at Denver minus 28.5 or something like that. How high do you start the pregame number where I could go to you, Joe? Would you like the Raptors tonight plus 19.5, 20.5?
I just had this argument last night when Oklahoma City was a 15.5 point favorite against Memphis. And that game was blowout from the first 3 minutes, and they still covered there the 15. So the good teams usually handle business and leave nothing to the imagination. We'll have more on this slate of games as InGame Live Prime Time continues here on the Grid.
The Bostonian versus the book.
In the Big Ten, it's the same thing. No offense to you guys. This feels like the Penn State rule. This feels like this is a guaranteed Penn State to get in.
We need to find a way to let them in because they can't beat Michigan. They can't beat Ohio State. But if we make them a third,
they get in.
This
is the Penn State rule.
Be better than the West half.
Yep.
And that 1 year that Lightning in a Bottle catches on the West half, we'll let them in too because they'll bring people.
The Bostonian versus the book.
The books are treating the Celtics 4 points better at minimum than maybe every single team in the NBA. And so far, I believe they've covered every game since the break.
The Celtics' strict goal here, anything less than a finals appearance and a finals championship is going to be a failure for the Celtics. They got all the pressure in the world across the board here.
Game time decisions only on SportsGrid.
Laying points on the road in college basketball is an absolute landmine. I would not do it. I won't do it the rest of the year. I'm done doing that because it just consistently loses.
I mean, 3 possessions in a 9-point game in which the opposition now is the clock, not the actual team you're facing, right?
Right.
And these guys are taking up shots. I mean, it's just like, that's why it's the NBA.
In-game live, prime time, only on SportsGrid. SportsGrid, your 24/7 sports wagering network. Pro League Soccer, powered by Marca.
I would be willing to bet the under 2.5 goals.
Fantasy sports today.
Especially in head-to-head formats in fantasy, I think I'm going to go with Juan Soto.
Game time decisions.
People don't like it. I don't really care. I cannot believe anybody is betting the Clippers at this number.
Betting above the
All
rim.
I've heard you say on the network is you're either winning or you're rebuilding.
In-game live, all access.
Nobody has been more profitable as a dog than Shaka Smart Team.
Winning back-to-back road games. I don't care if they're playing Topeka High. I wouldn't give them any chance whatsoever.
In-game live, prime time.
Back-to-back, just utterly stinker quarters.
In-game live, overtime.
Honestly, as you sit here and listen, watch right now, you may want to consider placing that bet.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Feel like a clown at a rodeo right now. Welcome back in with his in-game live all access here on a Monday. We want to thank you so much for stopping by as we've got plenty going on around the sports betting landscape here. NBA action underway, college basketball conference tournaments underway here tonight. We have a ton, and I mean a ton, as free agency opened up here today in the NFL. And some of you may very well have to look into buying a new jersey because your favorite player may, in fact, no longer be on the team that you root for. So we got a lot going on there. Joe Raineri alongside Dave Sharapan. We welcome in Taylor Mathis to the house here. And Taylor, happy Monday here to you. Before we dive into the NFL stuff, a couple of NBA games already off and running. Tell us, what are you invested in here tonight?
All right, I know this game just got started between the Mavs and the Bulls, but I'm going to go with Dallas star Luka Doncic to record a triple-double tonight. Doncic is nearly averaging a triple-double every single night right now, almost 35 points, 9 boards, and close to 10 assists. Through their last 6, the Mavs are just 500, but Doncic just had a triple-double, clocking in like clockwork in 6 straight. The Bulls are going to struggle defending the Mavs on the perimeter when Alex Caruso is their only option. He's going to have to guard double trouble in Doncic and Kyrie Irving. Points shouldn't be an issue. Dallas shoots threes at the second highest rate in the NBA, and the Bulls are dead last in defending from downtown attempts. Doncic will also have plenty of chances beyond the arc. And with poor defending around the perimeter for the Bulls, the alternative would be to kick it out to Irving. There we go. That takes care of the assist for us. And then in terms of boards, they sit bottom 10 in the league when it comes to defensive boards. I like Doncic to record a triple-double tonight. It seems like it happens every single day.
Yeah, well, it's because it pretty much does. There's a few guys like that this year, though, right? That, I mean, whether it's Doncic, whether it's the Joker there, or maybe even a Chicago Bull or two that end up getting it done for us there, Mr. Caruso's younger half brother. I'm just saying, there's always some consistency when it comes to the NBA. And by the way, that game opened up Mavs -5 this morning, and it closed, I believe, right around the 3.5 mark It's a 7-2 game right now with the Dallas Mavericks out in front. All right, we got a couple of games coming up a little bit later. We'll get you caught up with the college scoreboard coming up, but let's dive in to what has been an absolutely crazy opening day here of the new NFL season, free agency, because there are guys, changing teams left and right, and not just scrubs. Like, yeah, all right, congratulations, Mac Jones, you're a backup to Trevor Lawrence. No. We've got way more than that here. Now, we'll start with what happened at midnight here last night, and that was the announcement that, Dave, your Pittsburgh Steelers, my friend, and as sure as we're here, if you guys have watched this show, Taylor and I last week begged for this to happen, and we said it'd be so great to watch Dave melt down when the announcement came down on how Russell Wilson will now be your quarterback here, and sure enough, he couldn't even wait, Dave. 12:01, he takes to Twitter and starts yelling out and to Steeler Nation. Will Steeler Nation embrace him, Dave?
Man, oh man. I can't believe it. I really can't believe it. I'm getting Cam Newton to the Patriot vibes more than anything.
Yeah.
This is one of those ones where I'm like, wait a second, did this really happen? And all these like great social media accounts were tweeting that, he went to the Giants and he did a flyby and he went to Pittsburgh and they took him to Permanis and they took him to all the hot spots, including this joint on McKee's Rocks that you really shouldn't go unless it's really late at night. They had pictures of him everywhere. And I was like,
yep,
this can't be real. This guy might actually come. Well, 1.2 million. Denver's on the hook for the rest. And he's coming to Pittsburgh. I can't believe it. Now, when you look at the north, there's the north odds right there. Nothing moved. The division odds didn't move. The conference odds definitely shouldn't move. And the Super Bowl odds should be higher. That's not high enough. Still, I would argue the quarterback situation is the same as it was before.
I agree.
He's the least talented quarterback in the division. So I don't know. But listen, it's a no-lose situation, right? Because you bring him in, compete for the job. If Pickett doesn't win it, you got a veteran quarterback who may or may not work. I don't think it's going to last. Or you push Pickett to advance the competition. He gets better, and you have a backup who can capably do the job, who they did not have last year. Pickett got hurt, and it was a complete mess. So I trust the Steelers brass that maybe this is going to work out. But I've been betting against Russell Wilson in Denver the last couple of years, season wins under multiple times. Like, he had everything he had going to Pittsburgh. He had a young receiving core that looked like it was going to be great. Yep. Had a running team that could run a ball. Yep. Had a defense that actually kept teams in games. Yep. And had a coach. Well, the first year he didn't have a coach, but he has a veteran coach who's won a Super Bowl. Everything's the same. I just can't believe he's wearing black and gold. I was hoping he was going to Chicago. I was hoping we were talking about this on Monday with Taylor, going, welcome to your new quarterback. What do you think?
Yes.
I might have to get a tattoo now on a season win bet.
Yes. As you can tell, Taylor, things are going swimmingly in Steeler Nation right now with the thought of Russell. But I agree with him, though, because I think it's a lateral move. And none of it matters if you don't have the right play caller there. Tomlin is not a great offensive mind, so you've got to have – we know what a disaster that was with the OC last year. If he's a backup, great. I don't know that you hand the keys to him when you have, Pickett, who you drafted first, and you really kind of threw him to the wolves. So I still think it should be Pickett's team, and he should be there to help groom. If that's what you've got him for, I'm okay with it. But if you're just going to insert him into the starting spot, I can't think of anybody less blue collar in the most blue-collar town in the country than damn Russell Wilson and his rock star wife. Like, are you kidding me here?
They're going to love Pittsburgh. It's a great place to raise kids.
I love it.
They won't. They ain't even gonna live there. They ain't staying there. They're gonna be flying somewhere else after the games. You got to be kidding me. These bougie. Oh, please, Taylor. Please tell me I'm wrong.
No, I completely agree with both of you guys. I feel like this pretty much just keeps the Steelers all on the same playing field. I'm hoping that Pittsburgh thinks that maybe bringing Russell Wilson in is more for the competition factor for Kenny Pickett to try to up his game as the quarterback of the Steelers. Still, I hope they don't just try to throw Russell into the fire and get him going there as the starting quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I feel like Steelers fans would not be very happy about that. It's an interesting move. I don't think it's, for me, good nor bad. It's pretty stagnant.
I really thought he was coming to Vegas.
It's not moving a needle.
I was hoping he was going to the Giants. I can't believe it. But now that leads to the next question. Like everything in my life in the book and always thinking about, where does Justin Fields go now? Because he's not going to Pittsburgh. I thought he was. I was hoping he was.
He should be. He should
he's
too. Why not?
Atlanta, right? Because Kirk Cousins went to Atlanta. Where's he going?
Pittsburgh should sign every has-been quarterback there is. Just keep signing them into Pittsburgh. Keep bringing them into Pittsburgh. I know that's terrible here, but go to Buffalo. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but no, they don't want him in Buffalo. Way too cold over there. But we do have news on other quarterbacks. Maybe the most coveted free agent is going someplace else. We'll tell you about him when InGame Live PrimeTime continues.
The Bostonian versus the book.
In the Big Ten, it's the same thing. No offense to you guys. This feels like the Penn State rule. This feels like this is the guaranteed Penn State to get in.
We need to find a way to let them in because they can't beat Michigan. They can't beat Ohio State. But if we make them a third,
they get in. This is
they're
the Penn
always
State
going to
rule.
be better than the West half.
Yep.
And that 1 year that Lightning in a Bottle catches on the West half, we'll let them in too because they'll bring people.
The Bostonian versus the book.
The books are treating the Celtics 4 points better at minimum than maybe every single team in the NBA. And so far, I believe they've covered every game since the break.
The Celtics' strict goal here, anything less than a finals appearance and a finals championship is going to be a failure for the Celtics. They got all the pressure in the world across the board here.
Game time decisions only on SportsGrid.
Laying points on the road in college basketball is an absolute landmine. I would not do it. I won't do it the rest of the year. I'm done doing that because it just consistently loses.
I mean, 3 possessions in a 9-point game in which the opposition now is the clock, not the actual team you're facing, right?
Right.
And these guys are taking up shots. I mean, it's just like, that's why it's the NBA.
InGame Live, prime time, only on SportsGrid. SportsGrid, your 24/7 sports wagering network. Pro League Soccer, powered by Marca.
I would be willing to bet the under 2.5 goals.
Fantasy sports today.
Especially in head-to-head formats in fantasy, I think I'm going to go with Juan Soto.
Game time decisions.
People don't like it. I don't really care. I cannot believe anybody is betting the Clippers at this number.
Betting above the rim.
All I've heard you say on the network is you're either winning or you're rebuilding.
InGame Live All Access.
Nobody has been more profitable as a dog than Shaka Smart team.
Winning back-to-back road games. I don't care if they're playing Topeka High. I wouldn't give them any chance whatsoever.
InGame Live, prime time.
Back-to-back, just utterly stinker quarters.
InGame Live, overtime.
Honestly, as you sit here and watch right now, you may want to consider placing that bet.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in. It is InGame Live. We are PrimeTime here on the SportsGrid Network. Joe Raineri alongside Dave Sharapan and Taylor Mathis here with you guys as it has been an absolutely crazy day with the NFL free agency opening up. A lot of switching of teams going on here, which means a lot of new jerseys will be purchased here over the next couple of weeks. A quick update, by the way, NBA Pistons all over the Hornets, 70-54. Oh, yeah, Cavs still on top of the Phoenix Suns. We'll get to that, Taylor. 65-56, the hot mess they are here. And, of course, we've got the Mavs up 23-12 on the Bulls. And the Warriors are losing to the Spurs. I'll repeat, Warriors are losing to the Spurs. So things are looking swell there with Golden State. But we have been talking, of course, big news in the NFL here today. We learned that first thing in the morning, overnight, that Russell Wilson plans on going to Pittsburgh there. And, of course, Dave seems ecstatic about that idea.
Please.
I'm just saying. So with Russell out of the way, that means there had to be another quarterback that was going to be signed. And very easily, the number one, as far as I was concerned, he was going to be the number one if he had decided to opt to free agency and not sign an extension, that everybody was going to be after Kirk Cousins. 35 years old, an opportunity. He's a win now kind of quarterback. He's a guy that if you just think you're a quarterback away from competing, he would have been a guy that would have been at the top of a few teams' list. Well, as it turns out, he was. And that team was the Atlanta Falcons. So he signs a contract worth $180 million, $50 million signing bonus. My goodness, they basically gave him exactly what he wanted here. And kudos to Cousins, by the way, for the amount of money that this dude in contracts has gotten for a guy that was like fifth after the fact out of Michigan State is absolutely amazing to me. But the Falcons, Taylor, you tell me here, he's 35 years old, signs a 3-4 year deal here. That's a win now move for the Atlanta Falcons. Do you like the signing for them here with Kirk Cousins?
Well, more than anything, Kirk Cousins, he has got to be the best businessman in football with all the money he's brought in. He's all about the cold cash, but he's bringing in like the cold hard cash right now for real with the amount of money he's going to be getting here from the Falcons. $100 million guaranteed, 180 over 4 years. Crazy numbers. I don't know if I love the move for the Falcons. Yes, this improves their odds to win the division in a terrible division as is. This makes a lot of sense though, because his wife is also from the Atlanta area. They say happy wife, happy life. If you watch the Netflix documentary, he's very much a family man, probably wanted to make his family happy there, going to Atlanta, her getting to be closer to her family as well. Makes sense for him on a personal level. From a monetary standpoint, same thing. For the Falcons, a little surprised because like you said, bringing in a new head coach, a whole new regime, you would think maybe you'd go with a younger new quarterback that you're going to develop alongside the rest of this new head coach, this new offense, everything like that. But they're going with the veteran move, trying to win now. I don't think Kirk Cousins would be my answer if I was trying to be in win now mode.
Dave, do you like it? It's kudos to him. And by the way, Dave, where does Minnesota go? Because now it sounds like Minnesota hit the reset button.
Yeah. I don't know where Minnesota goes, but I know if I was Kirk Cousins and I was coming off Achilles surgery and I was 35 or 36, whatever he's going to be when the season starts, and somebody was going to offer me $180 million guaranteed, if I was Kirk Cousins, I'd have gone to the moon, let alone Atlanta, to go play football. He has his career earnings, $411 million since 2012. And of that $411 million, $329 million of it is fully guaranteed.
Wow.
The guy's got the best agent walking planet Earth. And think about this. They could have had Lamar Jackson last year when he didn't have a contract. Atlanta could have had him for, I believe it was 5 years, $200 million. Instead, they waited, didn't sign him, and got Kirk Cousins for 3 years, $180 million. Good luck. I don't think he plays it to the end of his contract. Listen, I'm rooting for him. He's a good guy, family guy, all that stuff. Atlanta's offensive line better get fixed before the season starts. Otherwise, he's going to get hit a lot.
Yes.
It doesn't even make him the favorite in the division. Again, I look at all these signings through the eyes of somebody who used to sit and make numbers and take bets. And I go, are they even the favorite in the division? I don't think so. I think Baker and Evans going back to Tampa is a better move than this.
Well, listen, I mean, he will have some weapons here now. Drake London, Kyle Pitts, who I still think plays in the league, although you wouldn't know it with the way the former coach treated him in any way, shape, or form. Bijan Robinson, the defense was very good. I mean, hey, listen, if I'm Arthur Blank, right, I haven't made the playoffs since, 2016 or 17? Wow. Like, how much longer do you think the fan base is going to be patient with all of these? Like, you had to go get a quarterback, and that's exactly what you did. You didn't want to sell them on, it's trust the process. Here's the process. You got yourself an established quarterback who, by the way, is coming off a contract, the first ever fully guaranteed contract of an NFL player. That is what Kirk Cousins got from Minnesota. And now he just backed up the Brinks truck and got himself even more money here at 35 years old. Absolutely brilliant. Also brilliant. There's an old saying, right? What goes around comes around. And boy, oh boy, the New York Giants are going to feel it this year. Certainly the fans are going to let them. You may have heard that there will be somebody leaving the Giants and heading to the Philadelphia Eagles here. And my goodness, this is absolutely an unbelievable double finger, screw you kind of situation here. In fact, they talked about it here a little bit earlier today with our boy Scotty Farrell there on Coast to Coast. Here's what they had to say about Saquon changing uniforms.
I had felt pretty strongly that the Eagles were going to pursue Barkley, but what I was not sure of, in fact, I thought if it went more than $10 million or more, they would back off because Barkley, with his injury history, is coming off of a down year. But Howie Roseman, the general manager, you and I have talked about him since we've done these segments for 4 years. When he wants a player, he'll stop at nothing to get that player. And he was aware there were other teams involved. As I understand, the Texans are certainly one of them who are looking to improve that running back position. Devin Singletary, their starter last year, did a good job, but he's going to play elsewhere this season. But the bottom line is the Eagles get Barkley. They've upgraded that position. DeAndre Swift, who was their starter last season, was a Pro Bowler. He's going to be in Chicago. But Barkley he definitely upgrades it. But the concern is, why was he not as good? Yes, the Giants' offensive line, not very talented. Eagles' offensive line, one of the top three in the National Football League. What you're going to see with Barkley, this is what a league source told me, you're going to see more explosive runs up the middle because the Red Seas are going to part. You're going to see more gaping holes for him because he's got a great offensive line. He's got to be better in the second level part of those runs. But the straight ahead runs where he could run a daylight, he might actually set probably a personal record with that this season with the Eagles. And also they get Bryce Huff, defensive end, formerly of the Jets, who was their number one edge rusher target. You could look for Josh Sweat and Hassan Reddick to be moved, or certainly a minimum of one of them. Reddick, by the way, making $15 million this season. Huff's making a ton of money. It's hard to keep all these pass rushers, so one of them's at least going to have to go, if not two. But the Eagles are wheeling and dealing today, and they're not done.
No, I don't think they're done either. Adam Kaplan joining Scotty Farrell on Coast to Coast here today. So a lot to unpack there. Number one, the Eagles lost DeAndre Swift to the Bears, and it didn't take them too long to figure out who the replacement was, Saquon Barkley, who was the number 2 overall pick As you guys know, their Giant fans will tell you. All he wanted was, all the Giants wanted was him to stay healthy. All he wanted was them to show a little love and give him a guaranteed deal. And they kept, they hit him with the franchise tag and probably would have done it again this year if given the opportunity. But instead he goes across town there, Taylor, to the arch nemesis Philadelphia Eagles in the division. Of all teams, man, kudos to him here. He's got a new home, and they will love him in Philadelphia.
They will love him in Philadelphia. And great answer. You get rid of DeAndre Swift. He goes to the Bears, and hey, they fill in that gap in their backfield with an even better player in Saquon Barkley coming from a division rival. A+ grade for me for the Philadelphia Eagles office.
Yeah, I mean, great move for him, and good move for the Eagles. The Giants did acquire Brian Burns earlier in the day to help the defense, so they're going to dump a whole lot of money into him. But all in all, I just didn't work out with the Giants. I don't know what else to say.
I love the move. I love Saquon.
Yeah.
Penn State guy. That's great. My co-host for Cash Considerations, newbie, Dan Alexander, said it best. All you need to do is go to Philadelphia, and then the next year, whatever you're a running back, you go get paid. Good luck, Chicago. Yeah. You don't have the same offensive line. Swift, Miles Sanders did it. Here we go.
Just got to stay healthy. Stay healthy, Saquon, and stay here. We'll be back. Game time, in-game live, rather, coming up next.
The Bostonian versus the Book.
In the Big Ten, it's the same thing. No offense to you guys. This feels like the Penn State rule. This feels like this is the guaranteed Penn State to get in.
We need to find a way to let them in because they can't beat Michigan. They can't beat Ohio State. But if we make them a third,
they get in. This is
they're
the Penn
always
State
going to
rule.
be better than the West half.
Yep.
And that 1 year that Lightning in a Bottle catches on the West half, we'll let them in too because they'll bring people.
The Bostonian versus the Book.
The books are treating the Celtics 4 points better at minimum than maybe every single team in the NBA. And so far, I believe they've covered every game since the break.
The Celtics' strict goal here, anything less than a finals appearance and a finals championship is going to be a failure for the Celtics. They got all the pressure in the world across the board here.
Game time decisions only on SportsGrid.
Laying points on the road in college basketball is an absolute landmine. I would not do it. I won't do it the rest of the year. I'm done doing that because it just consistently loses.
I mean, 3 possessions in a 9-point game in which the opposition now is the clock, not the actual team you're facing, right?
Right.
And these guys are taking up shots. I mean, it's just like, that's why it's the NBA.
In-game live, prime time, only on SportsGrid. SportsGrid, your 24/7 sports wagering network. Pro League Soccer, powered by Marca.
I would be willing to bet the under 2.5 goals.
Fantasy sports today.
Especially in head-to-head formats in fantasy, I think I'm going to go with Juan Soto.
Game time decisions.
People don't like it. I don't really care. I cannot believe anybody is betting the Clippers at this number.
Betting above the rim.
All I've heard you say on the network is you're either winning or you're rebuilding.
In-game live, all access.
Nobody has been more profitable as a dog than Shaka Smart Team.
Winning back-to-back road games
I don't care if they're playing Topeka High. I wouldn't give them any chance whatsoever.
InGame Live, Prime Time.
Back-to-back, just utterly stinker quarters.
InGame Live, overtime.
Honestly, as you sit here and listen, watch right now, you may want to consider placing that bet.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
All right, this just in. The Charlotte Hornets are awful on so many different levels here. It is InGame Live. We are primetime here on the SportsGrid Network as the Pistons are boat racing the Charlotte Hornets here. That's right. The Detroit Pistons, 81-65 right now as they come to the end of the third quarter. But you never know. It is the Pistons as well. So, you know, a 25-point lead is not safe in one quarter. If you followed the Pistons, you know exactly what we're talking about there. You also have a Cavaliers team that has half of the starting lineup out with injury, giving up or dropping 70 points on a fully healthy Phoenix Suns team that has their big three in there. It's 70-63 at the break there. The Mavericks 44-23 over the Bulls. And as soon as I said it, the Spurs 39, Warriors 36 with about 9 minutes ago in the second quarter there. Those are your NBA numbers here. And we still got plenty to get to here with the NFL free agency news. But let me ask you quick here, Taylor Mathis, 70-63, your Phoenix Suns. If you saw that number, would you be like, oh, wow, they must have got Donovan Mitchell back? Like Cleveland must have got a couple of, and I'm sure Booker's not playing, right? I mean,
I would have thought immediately that Booker was not playing, which is also what I suspected because he was a game time decision. So I'm a little surprised that Kevin Booker is in the lineup tonight. The Suns are a mess right now. I was getting a little more confidence with the fact that we had that good OT win over the Nuggets without Booker in the lineup, but then you know, we come back, battle back in that second half against the Celtics. Things were looking all right. We still end up losing, which is what I suspected, by 10. But again, without Booker. Then tonight, you've got the big three in. This is when we're supposed to be at our perfect time here. And what's going on? We're losing to the Cavs while they're missing their entire lineup. So I have no idea. This team is just a roller coaster day in and day out.
It's tough to trust them here. It really is. But again, second half coming up. We'll keep you posted on that here. We do have, of course, more big news all day long here in the NFL. If you're just getting home, just tuning us on here, obviously the big news that Russell Wilson, as Dave broke, is going to Pittsburgh. That's number one. Kirk Cousins is heading to Atlanta. Saquon is heading to Philadelphia with a big thumbs up there to the Giants on the way out. Finger up anyway, we'll say that. But how about this? You've got some changes going on in Green Bay, who has now said goodbye to Aaron Jones. But they, as far as the running back spot goes, I mean, Aaron Jones, Dave, to me, has always been one of the more talented running backs that kind of got buried towards the end with Aaron Rodgers and, of course, with Jordan Love here. But they said goodbye, but they are welcoming in a guy in your neck of the woods, or was in your neck of the woods, in Josh Jacobs. Do you like the move there?
Nobody has a clue what's going on here. Like, he's gone.
That's true.
They're trying to find a quarterback. And, that's great for Green Bay. I think it's a good move. If you watch them play, I mean, they were this close to beating San Francisco.
I know.
In San Francisco. I think they got a great nucleus. They got coaching. Everything's on the same page. If I'm Josh Jacobs, I'm like, let's go. Let's go, because I'm leaving a chaotic environment, I guess you want to call it. Plus, I get in a division that we can compete in. That's all you want. Right now, if you're making moves and your goal is to win, I want to go where We got a shot at winning the division and hosting a playoff game. After that, we'll see what the injury situation is and what the path is. Worry about getting to the Super Bowl in New Orleans. I like the move. I think it's a good move for Green Bay. They're making all the right moves. They're going to be right there with, Detroit's obviously the favorite, but Green Bay's a second choice. Minnesota, like you said,
right.
I don't know what they're doing. And the Bears are the Bears. We'll see more about the Bears with the draft. I think
we never know what the Bears are doing.
Well, that's true.
No.
That's
Yes.
It's very difficult to know what the Bears are doing because the Bears don't know what the Bears are doing.
Well, but to me, Taylor, this is another one of those. I love Aaron Jones. And the reason, by the way, that they even had a chance or were close to beating the 49ers was because Aaron Jones was healthy. That was the only reason, as far as I was concerned, there was that Aaron Jones finally got healthy down the stretch. And he was a big reason as to why they had the kind of success and almost ended up pulling it off. But can the argument be made that, all right, you get rid of Aaron Jones, one of the better running backs, and I'm sorry, Josh Jacobs, pretty good also. So, is it a lateral move in your mind?
I was a little confused at first, just because I really like Aaron Jones too. And I see what the Green Bay Packers are trying to do. You have a really young nucleus. You have Jordan Love, who played outstanding last year. And like you said, they almost beat San Francisco in the playoffs. You bring in another guy who's a little bit younger, switch it up here in the backfield with Josh Jacobs. A good move. I guess I wasn't expecting them to get rid of Aaron Jones in the process of doing that, especially with how good he is when he's been healthy for Green Bay here.
Dave, you said you don't know what's going on there in Vegas with the Raiders, but my goodness, that defense got a huge boost signing Christian Wilkins from the Miami Dolphins. That is a absolutely tremendous front now that your Raiders have, signing for big money too, $84.75 million guaranteed. We just heard Chris Jones a couple of days ago going back, signing a just epic, ridiculous contract. Having that kind of middle, that kind of beef up the middle to go with Max Crosby, all of a sudden that defense looks a lot better with the Raiders. The offense, we're still trying to figure it out, but that defense, that looks pretty ferocious right now with what you got going on there.
First of all, don't ever call them my Raiders, Joe. I live in Vegas, but I don't like the Raiders. I root against the Raiders. I'm a Steeler guy, first and foremost. They're not my Raiders.
Okay, Russ.
All
right, Russ.
You get one pass. That's it.
I got you, Russ. Second
order of business is the defense had to get better in the division because the Chiefs' defense, obviously, Super Bowl champs, better defense. The Chargers got Harbaugh, their defense is going to be better immediately.
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea what's going on in Denver. I really don't. I would assume their defense would be better. So, okay, the Raiders still don't have a quarterback. I don't know. Aiden O'Connell is the guy you're going into the season with now? Probably not. There's probably going to be another move behind a move. Talking today after the Wilson signing last night, all the buzz with the boys in town were like, oh, I guess they're getting Justin Fields. Wouldn't be the worst thing in the world, okay? But again, these moves move numbers. Nothing that happened. Nobody's moving those numbers. What about your AFC East? Your Miami Dolphins, Joe. I'll throw that back to you. They're losing everybody. What the hell's going on in Miami, Joe? Their odds may be coming down.
Yes. Well, they've made the decision here that they are kind of moving away from a couple of pieces here. Listen, they had a pretty good defensive front. Wilkins was great. But while it hurts, they're not going to be able to easily replace him. They weren't going to tie up that kind of money in a defensive lineman with that head coach. Plus, they got Tua right around the corner. They're going to have to figure out what to do and who to pay and how they're going to pay. So it's an unfortunate timing situation, but it looks like they're going to keep Armstead, their blindside tackle there, which is good news. They just added a center, I believe, in Aaron Brewer on a 3-year deal. He will bolster that offensive line, which is really I think the money for Miami is going to the offensive line on that side of the ball. It's just the way it is with that crazy few fries short of a Happy Meal coach that they have here, Taylor. But it does look like the Patriots have decided who their quarterback's going to be after trading Mac Jones to Jacksonville. Jacoby Brissett, welcome in to New England. You're going to be... Are you kidding me? How bad is this division going to be next year where the Jets are going to be maybe the second best team in the league there? But no, you're not buying the Bills? No? I mean, look at these numbers. Look at these.
Listen, Taylor made it perfectly
Things look
clear.
too easy for the Bills. I don't like that.
It does.
You made this perfectly clear what a Bills supporter you are, you were, and now, see, and the Bills are going to win this division. I'll say it. Joe just said it. Taylor, will you say that?
They look like the favorite for a reason. They should be. It looks very easy. It does look easy for the Bills to win. But just because the Bills go to the playoffs, we know what happens every year. That doesn't mean anything. That does not mean anything. If you're a Buffalo Bills fan. Sorry, Bills Mafia. It doesn't really mean anything.
Yep. I mean, she's got a point there.
True.
But
True.
Listen, I know for a fact the Dolphins, the Jets, and the Bills, they're a little upset right now. They got to deal with Jacoby Brissett next year. That is not the kind of news they were looking for in the first day of free. And I'm sorry, but you can kiss it, Patriot fans, all right? No Brady. You can, for all of those years of pure dominance, you deserve a little Jacoby Brissett in your life there. That is for sure.
What about the AFC South, though? What about the AFC South? Like, that changed everything, right? Well, not that Mac going there changed anything. They have a backup now.
No.
But Tony Pollard went to Tennessee. Houston's the best team in the division. Yes, I think so. Those numbers are perfect.
Yes.
1, 2, and 3. Tennessee, 7-1 to win the division. Are they? Did they go that bad, that fast? It's over.
Yes.
In Tennessee. Oh, okay.
No. Well, I don't like the head coaching move. I mean, I don't like Brian Callahan for Vrabel. Like, I mean, you boot Vrabel to bring in a guy that's never. I don't get it. I do like Will Levis. I don't know if you're sold on him, Taylor. Are you sold on him?
I don't know if I'm sold on Will Levis. I like what I've seen out of him thus far, but for the Tennessee Titans to be all in on Levis at this point, I think would be a mistake. He hasn't had enough games under his belt to see. We don't know yet. I don't know if Levis is the full move there. Pollard adding to the backfield likely means that Derrick Henry is going to be gone out of Tennessee. Hoping, fingers crossed, he ends up in Dallas. But we'll see. I don't know if they should be that far back in the division standings, but I guess there's a reason for it.
I mean, Spears is the other guy, right? Tajay Spears is the other running back who was a good counter to the way Derrick Henry ran, right? But now you kind of got two of the same backs with Pollard and Spears, and both can catch the ball out of the backfield. So I do think it's going to be an adjustment period for the Titans. But, Dave, I'm a little disgusted with your lack of enthusiasm. You've got Gardner Minshew at your quarterback spot now, pal. All right? Your Vegas Raiders have got Minshew mania to be.
Stop it.
I mean, no.
Dave,
I
your
don't
teams
know.
are just coming in hot with great moves today.
Oh, hot people. They're hot.
The Bostonian versus the book.
In the Big Ten, it's the same thing. No offense to you guys. This feels like the Penn State rule. This feels like this is the guaranteed Penn State to get in.
We need to
Penn
find
State's
a way to let them in because they can't beat Michigan. They can't beat Ohio State. But if we make them a third,
they get in.
This is
the Penn
always
State
going to
rule.
be better than the West half.
Yep.
And that 1 year that Lightning in a Bottle catches on the West half, we'll let them in too because they'll bring people.
The Bostonian versus the book.
The books are treating the Celtics 4 points better at minimum than maybe every single team in the NBA. And so far, I believe they've covered every game since the break.
The Celtics' strict goal here, anything less than a finals appearance and a finals championship is going to be a failure for the Celtics. They got all the pressure in the world across the board here.
Game time decisions only on SportsGrid.
Laying points on the road in college basketball is an absolute landmine. I would not do it. I won't do it the rest of the year. I'm done doing that because it just consistently loses.
I mean, 3 possessions in a 9-point game in which the opposition now is the clock, not the actual team you're facing, right?
Right.
And these guys are taking up shots. I mean, it's just like, that's why it's the NBA.
In-game live, prime time, only on SportsGrid. SportsGrid, your 24/7 sports wagering network. Pro League Soccer, powered by Marca.
I would be willing to bet the under 2.5 goals.
Fantasy sports today.
Especially in head-to-head formats in fantasy, I think I'm going to go with Juan Soto.
Game time decisions.
People don't like it. I don't really care. I cannot believe anybody is betting the Clippers at this number.
Betting above the
All
rim.
I've heard you say on the network is you're either winning or you're rebuilding.
In-game live, all access.
Nobody has been more profitable as a dog than Shaka Smarty.
Winning back-to-back road games. I don't care if they're playing Topeka High. I wouldn't give them any chance whatsoever.
In-game live, prime time.
Back-to-back, just utterly stinker quarters.
In-game live, overtime.
Honestly, as you sit here and watch right now, you may want to consider placing that bet.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in-game live, and we are prime time here on the SportsGrid Network as we wrap up this first hour, and certainly want to thank you for hanging out with us here as we get ready to say goodbye to Taylor Mathis here. And Taylor, before you go, it is only proper that you drop us a best bet here tonight. We still have a couple of games getting ready to tip off here in the NBA. What might you be looking at tonight?
All right, we're going to take the big number, plus 16, with the Raptors against the Nuggets tonight. Denver is going to finally get to that point where they take it down a notch. They just had a big game against the Suns where they lost in OT. Then they beat the Celtics, arguably possibly the best team in the NBA. We keep waiting for Denver to kind of hit cruise control. I think tonight could be that move. Toronto is still without star Scotty Barnes and without center Jakob Poeltl. It could be difficult for them to score against the best team in the NBA that is stellar at home. This game could have blowout potential, but I just have a gut feeling that the Raptors will keep this closer than we're expecting. So I'm going to take the points tonight. Another thing to mention, under head coach Mike Malone, the Nuggets are 31-49, just 39% against the spread after leading by more than 25 in the previous game. So the letdown effect is really real for Denver out there. Going to take the points with the Raptors. Also going to do the same thing in that Trailblazers game, taking on the Celtics. I'm going to take the 12 points with the Blazers tonight.
Oh, going, diving. She is diving here, Dave. You hear that number she threw out there? Come on, man. What do you think, Dave?
Sounded
I don't
personal.
hate it.
Sounded personal.
It really did.
You got a guy.
It really did.
Personal.
Sounded
really
personal for Celtics backers and Celtics fans. That sounded a little personal. I'm just
was
saying.
a little aggressive, Taylor.
Maybe I'm hating a little bit after the Suns lost. I might be hating on the Celtics just a tiny bit right now. Could be the reason.
Little aggressive. Just I'm with you. I caught a whiff of that myself. A little aggressive there. Taylor, we appreciate it as usual. We'll see you again on Thursday. Another hour of in-game live primetime next. And welcome back in-game live prime time, off and running another hour here on the SportsGrid Network. Joe Raineri alongside Dave Sharapan as we are keeping our eye across the scoreboard here. We've got some NHL games going on right now, although not a lot of goals being scored by certain teams here, but we'll let that slide. We do have some NBA action as well going on. And it turned out to be some pretty decent games here right now. Dallas seems to be boat racing the Bulls 62-42 here, Dave. It feels like, unless short of miraculous comebacks here by some teams, yikes. Pistons on top 98-85 with about 6 minutes to go there against the Hornets. And, we said it earlier, the Cavs dropped 70 in the first half. They were up, 70-63 over the Suns. The Suns are now up 80-76 here with 7 minutes to go in the third. Oh, my. And what's going on with the Warriors? They're still trailing the San Antonio Spurs right now, 60-56.
Yeah, but you put out the homing pigeon. You sent out the bat signal earlier in the first hour when you said that Warriors are trailing the Spurs. And you said it real again. You repeated yourself. The Warriors are trailing the Spurs. For those of you that join us here on SportsGrid on Mondays and Thursdays, when Joe does that, that means you should probably be betting the Warriors right now because they're trailing the Spurs. It's a good opportunity. It's gone. Here they come. They'll probably be winning at halftime. And then they're going to annihilate them in the third quarter like they do. The third quarter adjustments. The Warriors in the third quarter. It's been one of the best bets in basketball. So it's one of those nights where, I don't know what to expect later. Taylor just came on and picked both dogs.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Again, the Celtics, they're going to crush Portland. They're not losing this game. So I don't like taking the dogs if I think we got no shot at winning. And I don't think they got any shot at winning. So I don't know, Joe. We got 3 shutouts going in the NHL right now.
Yes, we do.
Do they all finish in a shutout?
All of them. Every one of them. The Jets, Capitals, Blues. Well, the Bruins should score a goal here. They just started the third period, I believe. 4-0 Blues over the Bruins. The Rangers also just started the third, 2-0 against the Devils. And the Capitals are in the middle of the second, I believe, with the Jets up on top there, 2-0. Well, I'll give you this. Could there possibly be another shutout in the fourth game here tonight between the Kings and the Islanders? Could there also be a lack of goals? It feels like an under kind of night here, Dave, if that's where you're heading.
Yeah. I haven't confirmed the goalies yet. Sorokin, I believe, is going to play for the Islanders. Don't know yet for the Kings. Okay, it's Sorokin.
No, it's not. It's Varlamov. It's his backup.
Oh, okay. Well, I was going to say yes, there could be, but no, I don't think so. No.
Yes.
When you get the backups, you can go one of two ways. The Islanders looked great last night against the Ducks. Everybody looks good against the Ducks except Ottawa last week when we had the Ducks against them. No, this is not going to be a shutout. The price is a little
Boston
bit iffy.
Just scored.
There we go.
There
all right,
you
they
go.
had one goal
less
called back before. Now, this is when you jump in game and take them plus 2.5 if you can grab it. They're going to score again.
Ooh.
They're going to score again. The Bruins are going to score again. So if you can grab it 2.5 in game, that's
plus
probably
160
on the 2.5.
On the 2.5, my man.
Oh,
yeah. See, you just dragged me right in, dude. Now I got to.
Right.
Yep.
This
There
is
we
what
go.
happens. You just dragged me in when you said plus
Yeah.
160.
Sucked me.
Because I
You
made
just
a
sucked
number
me
in my
right
head.
in that.
2.5 would be
Yep.
pick 'em minus 110. We're going to score again. They're going to score again.
I agree.
That's good.
I agree.
All right. Good.
Done. See?
Where did you
That was
look
quick.
at? Did you start like now? We can dive a little bit into the college baskets. This Stony Brook Hofstra
Sure.
game. We got guys that work at the network, big Hofstra people, and Stony Brook had a nice little win the other night, last night, and Hofstra's playing as well as anybody. Big favorite.
Mm-hmm.
We know
Yep.
guys that like really know Hofstra and they know ball, and they would tell me if they could right now to lay the points. I thought, we're going to have this. We're going to have to talk about this. Hofstra may actually get to the whole thing. They may win the CAA. It's possible. But do they win tonight?
Whoa.
No?
Settle down here, okay? I mean,
What?
settle
No?
down with the Seawolves here running the table here. I will say this. I was on Hofstra last night when most Hofstra guys at this network were on Drexel and the points. And that didn't work out all that well for those betting against Hofstra here. And Stony Brook, we watched that game on InGame Live yesterday, me and Scotty Wetzel. And it was, they never, ever, ever led in that game. Stony Brook trailed the entire thing right up until the end when they somehow managed to get it tied in the second half and then eventually ended up going on and winning it in overtime here. So it wasn't quite the same kind of effort put in by Hofstra yesterday, Dave, to win that game against Drexel. They had it in hand pretty much the entire way. Stony Brook had laid it all out in order to win that game yesterday in overtime. So you've got to wonder if all of a sudden now it starts. This is a tough stretch for them, man. I mean, this is now what, their third game? I don't think they were in the play-in game in the original Open there. So, that's a lot of basketball here in a short time frame from a team that doesn't have a lot of depth to begin with. I think Hofstra's just the better team, but are you running to go lay in game now? 9.5 here, Dave. It's not up 11 and a piece. I do think Hofstra pulls away in this game in the second half.
I think so too. It's crazy because I'm getting texts from guys we know. Guys are very close to the Hofstra program are saying, Hofstra, I got plus 360 to win it all. This guy, Sam, he's pretty sharp. He likes to make these plays. I'm just saying.
And Sam was on Drexel yesterday, plus the points. So don't let Sam fool you.
Was he really?
Let Sam fool you. Yes, he was. He was all over Drexel yesterday. Or maybe that was Scotty Wetzel. It doesn't make a difference. It's an S. It began with an S, and that's the bottom line, and that's the end of it there. Hofstra right now, though, I do think maybe the under might have some juice in this one too, Dave, because I don't see Stony Brook lighting anybody up offensively. So I do think the under is in play at 138.5 right now. Just saying.
When we come back, we got to talk about the West Coast Conference games, please, because Santa Clara's playing St. Mary's. It just tipped tonight. The Zags are hosting. Who are they hosting? They're playing.
Who cares? Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
I'm going to the
They're
game
winning anyway.
It's at the Orleans.
They're taking on the Dons. They're taking on the Dons. At the Dons. We'll have more on that coming up in Game Live.
The Bostonian versus the book.
In the Big Ten, it's the same thing. No offense to you guys. This feels like the Penn State rule. This feels like this is a guaranteed Penn State to get in.
We need to
Penn
find
State's
a way to let them in because they can't beat Michigan. They can't beat Ohio State. But if we make them a third,
they get in. This is
they're
the Penn
always
State
going to
rule.
be better than the West half.
Yep.
And that 1 year that Lightning in a Bottle catches on the West half, we'll let them in too because they'll bring people.
The Bostonian versus the book.
The books are treating the Celtics 4 points better at minimum than maybe every single team in the NBA. And so far, I believe they've covered every game since the break.
The Celtics' strict goal here, anything less than a finals appearance and a finals championship is going to be a failure for the Celtics. They got all the pressure in the world across the board here.
Game time decisions only on SportsGrid.
Laying points on the road in college basketball is an absolute landmine. I would not do it. I won't do it the rest of the year. I'm done doing that because it just consistently loses.
I mean, 3 possessions in a 9-point game in which the opposition now is the clock, not the actual team you're facing, right?
Right.
And these guys are taking up shots. I mean, it's just like, that's why it's the NBA.
In-game live, prime time, only on SportsGrid. SportsGrid, your 24/7 sports wagering network. Pro League Soccer, powered by Marca.
I would be willing to bet the under 2.5 goals.
Fantasy sports today.
Especially in head-to-head formats in fantasy, I think I'm going to go with Juan Soto.
Game time decisions.
People don't like it. I don't really care. I cannot believe anybody is betting the Clippers at this number.
Betting above the
All
rim.
I've heard you say on the network is you're either winning or you're rebuilding.
In-game live, all access.
Nobody has been more profitable as a dog than Shaka Smart team.
Winning back-to-back road games. I don't care if they're playing Topeka High. I wouldn't give them any chance whatsoever.
In-game live, prime time.
Back-to-back, just utterly stinker quarters.
In-game live, overtime.
Honestly, as you sit here and listen, watch right now, you may want to consider placing that bet.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in-game live. We are prime time here on this Monday. Want to thank you so much for hanging with us here. Joe Raineri alongside Dave Sharapan, and we welcome in our good friend Mark Zinno in the house as we keep an eye on what's happening here in the association. Light card, just 6 games here on the schedule tonight. We obviously have some pretty important games going on in college basketball as conference tournaments are underway, including the West Coast Conference here with St. Mary's and Santa Clara underway coming up. The Zags, who feel like they've had a month off, taking on the Dons of San Francisco. That game coming up in just a few. But, Zin, let's start in the NFL if we could, because you're an Atlanta guy. You're on the radio in Atlanta. You and I have talked and ripped this Atlanta franchise here, but we really thought you moved on from that head coach who didn't realize that, he actually had some talent on the offensive side of the ball. But we thought they were going to go ahead in the draft, bring in a new regime, get a young guy that they can, that's theirs, right? And Kirk Cousins, 35 years old, coming off Achilles, and they gave him a boatload of money. That's a win now move here, Zin. Are you in Atlanta? What's the consensus right now with the Falcons fan base?
I mean, I have a hard time believing that a fan base that hasn't really had a ton of success is upset at the idea that the top free agent that was available at the most important position on the field was signed by your team, and the best you can come up with is cautious optimism. I mean, like, it's almost like I collectively want to slap every Falcons fan upside the head. What the hell is wrong with you? Objectively, you're about 100 times better today than you were at 11:59 a.m. What is the problem? You played a season last year with quarterback play that was equivalent to the XFL. And you almost had a chance to make the playoffs going into the final 2 or 3 weeks of the season. All you need to do is get better at quarterback, and you're a playoff team. Like, the idea that we're sitting here and Falcons fans are oscillating back and forth about the good and the bad in it is just asinine. You absolutely are a better team. You signed the top free agent at the most important position. What is the problem? Like, I just don't understand. Like, he's coming off an injury. 36 coming off an injury. I don't know. Every year in Minnesota, his production was top 10 in the league. What's the issue? Like, I don't understand all of a sudden because if he didn't have an injury, does that mean this signing is great? Is that what the issue is? If he didn't, because Minnesota didn't let him walk because he had the injury. Minnesota let him walk because they didn't want to give him $100 million guaranteed. No, by the way, Kirk Cousins is absolutely the smartest, most profitable quarterback in the history of this league, and he never gets enough credit for it because that dude got $90 million guaranteed over the first 2 years of this deal. He might have made $500 million guaranteed more than any other quarterback or any other player in the history of the NFL ever would. All that said, Dave and Joe, there's nothing objectively bad about this move. Like, even if Kirk Cousins is a below-average year, he's still infinitely better than Desmond Ridder. Plain and simple.
I can tell you this.
Do you hear Russell Wilson's going to Pittsburgh?
Yeah, I mean, somebody said to
Why
me.
are we talking about this?
Somebody
it's
said
not on the rundown. Stop talking about this, please.
You think Falcons fans are bad? Wait to hear Steeler fans.
Oh, God. I mean, like, it's one of these things where somebody said to me today, Kirk isn't a very decorated quarterback. I go, is he a war hero? Is he a Christmas tree? What does that mean, decorated? Rings are decoration. I said, no, rings are jewelry. That's number one. Number two, there was only one quarterback available who wears a ring, and that was Russell Wilson, and you didn't want him. And I'm sorry, that's right. Joe Flacco is, quote, decorated. We should sign him.
Oh, that's a
because
good point,
playoff
too.
wins are actually a stat that we care about when it comes. Playoff wins. That's right, playoff wins, guys. Because Mark Sanchez found so much value in free agency with his 6 playoff wins, 4 of them on the road. So, again, let's continue to talk about playoff wins. What an asinine argument.
He did give us the butt fumble, okay? I mean, give credit where credit is due here, Sharapan.
Of all time. It's one of the best gifts of all time. It really is. I love every time I go to a Jets something. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. But
I still believe Arthur Smith is a damn offensive genius, and now that he has an above serviceable quarterback, I think the Steelers are going to be fine.
Fine?
See?
How? Like fine? Like
See?
9-8? Fine? 10-7? Fine? Or
playoff fine.
Seriously,
I don't know
the first losing season in Tomlin's history? Fine.
No, they're not. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Arthur Smith is too good, and the talent there is too good. It's just not going to happen. Trust me. Again, Arthur Smith made chicken salad out of chicken you-know-what with Desmond freaking Ridder and was able to stay at 500 all year long with a guy who didn't know what color jersey to throw the ball to.
Things are going swimmingly here in Atlanta and Pittsburgh.
$411
if you guys haven't figured that out.
Listen to this, stats, then. $411 million is what Kirk Cousins' career earnings are. This is from, I saw this from Warren Sharp and Jerry Dulac retweeted it. $411 million. 329 of it fully guaranteed.
Good for him.
That's a smart quarterback. I mean, that's a good reason to get him in Atlanta. But then, does it even make him the favorite to win the division?
It should. He's the best quarterback in the division by a mile.
Baker Mayfield? What? Baker.
Dave, I've seen this Baker Mayfield story before. I know how it ends. You know how it ends? With him doing about 100 commercials in Tampa, starting walking into training camp, Baker Mayfield out and talking all the swag and everything else and the smack talk. Only to watch him to throw 6 picks in his first 4 games and Tampa Bay to start out 1-3.
Really?
I've seen this story before. I know how it ends.
I think
well, let me ask you. Maybe you can help us. Maybe you can help us understand how this Hofstra game ends. Because Dave and I have been going back and forth here with Stony Brook and Hofstra. I like Hofstra. I think Stony Brook's coming to the end here, but they have been over not just this tournament, but going back the last couple of weeks. They've been pretty darn good. Do they have one more win in them here?
I mean, look, there's an argument both of these teams don't belong in this game, right? The Seagulls probably shouldn't be here. Drexel gifted them a spot last night after being up by 12 and blowing it with 5 minutes left. And
That's true. He's
and
right.
then Hofstra probably shouldn't be there either because Delaware, in their game yesterday, went 2 3-minute stretches and 1 6-minute stretch where they didn't score a single point. That's 12 minutes of a 40-minute game that they did not score a single point. So if Delaware actually remembered how to put that little round orange thing in the little bucket, Hofstra's not sitting here. I think it's 3 points for Hofstra. They won both regular season meetings by a combined 7 points, and Hofstra had to come back in the second half in both of them to steal a win. So I know the double overtime thing yesterday has everybody up in arms about what they have left in the tank, but Stony Brook 22-8-2 against the number this year, guys. I laid it with I took it with Stony Brook. I think it was 20 points.
Wow.
That's impressive. The Seawolves.
Zed, are you going to be up late on the West Coast Conference games? Because, I mean, right now St. Mary's and Santa Clara are going, but, you know, late night, East Coast time, San Francisco's playing the Zags over here at New Orleans. The wife and kids are out of town, so I'm going over to watch the game by myself. I can't wait. Lay it or take it with Zags or San Francisco.
Anytime, Dave, there's a school that's nicknamed the Dons playing in a basketball game.
You want to take them?
I'm going to take the Don because what the Don wants you to do. Yeah, I think it's too many points, honestly. I mean, I like the Dons all the way in this one. I like the Dons during the regular season meeting that they had between these two teams. Look, that's an offense that can score. The San Francisco can score, and they can keep up with Gonzaga. It would take a Herculean defensive effort by Gonzaga to keep them out of this number.
Well, this was pleasant. I thought this went swimmingly here. Atlanta Falcons fans, Mark Zinno, we appreciate it. Best of luck with the Dons. InGame Live Prime Time continues.
The Bostonian versus the Book.
In the Big Ten, it's the same thing. No offense to you guys. This feels like the Penn State rule. This feels like this is the guaranteed Penn State to get in.
We need to find a way to let them in because they can't beat Michigan. They can't beat Ohio State. But if we make them a third,
they get in.
This
is the Penn
always
State
going to
rule.
be better than the West half.
Yep.
And that 1 year that Lightning in a Bottle catches on the West half, we'll let them in too because they'll bring people.
The Bostonian versus the Book.
The Books are treating the Celtics 4 points better at minimum than maybe every single team in the NBA. And so far, I believe they've covered every game since the break.
The Celtics' strict goal here, anything less than a finals appearance and a finals championship is going to be a failure for the Celtics. They got all the pressure in the world across the board here.
Game time decisions only on SportsGrid.
Laying points on the road in college basketball is an absolute landmine. I would not do it. I won't do it the rest of the year. I'm done doing that because it just consistently loses.
I mean, 3 possessions in a 9-point game in which the opposition now is the clock, not the actual team you're facing, right?
Right.
And these guys are taking up shots. I mean, it's just like, that's why it's the NBA.
InGame Live, Prime Time, only on SportsGrid. SportsGrid, your 24/7 sports wagering network. Pro League Soccer, powered by Marca.
I would be willing to bet the under 2.5 goals.
Fantasy sports today.
Especially in head-to-head formats and fantasy, I think I'm going to go with Juan Soto.
Game time decisions.
People don't like it. I don't really care. I cannot believe anybody is betting the Clippers at this number.
Betting above the rim.
All I've heard you say on the network is You're either winning or you're rebuilding.
InGame Live All Access.
Nobody has been more profitable as a dog than Shaka Smart Team.
Winning back-to-back road games. I don't care if they're playing Topeka High. I wouldn't give them any chance whatsoever.
InGame Live PrimeTime.
Back-to-back, just utterly stinker quarters.
InGame Live Overtime.
Honestly, as you sit here and listen, watch right now, you may want to consider placing that bet.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in. Listen, we got a call from the Dons, and they were they wanted Mark Zinno back for another segment. So far be it from us to say no to the Dons here. So we welcome back in Mark Zinno here, and InGame Live Primetime here. Joe Raineri alongside Dave Sharapan. When the Dons call, we listen here, Zin. So welcome back in. Let's give you a couple of scores right now in the NBA. We've got the Suns and the Cavs knotted up 104 apiece with about 7 minutes to go there. The Bulls pretty much, I think they're still locked in the locker room. I don't think they came out here tonight. 80-54, 6 minutes to go in that one. Warriors down 3, 8.5 minutes to go in the third there. And by the way, the Nuggets, who were laying 35 or something, like Kirk Cousins was their quarterback, 23-22, the amount of points that Denver was laying here. And we do have Celtics and Blazers coming up a little bit later. That number is 12. So what is the score on the board right now that surprises you the most at this point?
I can't believe the Warriors are going to let the Spurs beat them back-to-back game. Like, that's a joke. I thought that was a massive overreaction and overcorrection on the line. They played 2 nights ago, Joe, and the Warriors were favored by 12.5. Now, look, I know they had no Steph Curry, but the idea that we're going to move this line 8 points because of home court, and I get that Wembanyama came back tonight, but is Wembanyama worth like 4 points? I don't think so. Like, that doesn't seem it all adds up to go from 12.5 down to 4.5. And so I laid it with the Warriors here, and they're making me look really, really foolish. You know, I wanted to take the Raptors. Everything in my blood wanted to take the Raptors. I played the Jazz the other night against the Nuggets, getting 11.5, and they got absolutely smoked. And I just kind of felt I was one of those things where I'm like, this 15 is it's way too large. It's not a number that should be bet. It was Raptors or pass. Look, it's a lot of game left, so the Nuggets can pull away and do this thing, but it took a lot of restraint not for me to play Toronto getting 15.
Ooh. I have to ask you a question. We talked a little bit last night when you were on with Drew, and we talked a little bit of baseball, and I know you're a baseball guy too. There was some information that came out today, and I immediately thought of you. And I said, I wonder what Yankee fans are thinking today after I saw that they might have to they're doing an exploratory MRI just to check things out, because there's discomfort. And you said it last night, and I said, I can't wait to talk to Zinno again next Sunday. And then I get the DM from Patrick that says, Zinno's on tonight. I said, I'm not asking him about nothing else except Garrett Cole's elbow. And what do we do? Unload on the AL East odds on the Orioles or on the Blue Jays or on the Rays, because we all know it's not the Red Sox. But this is to sound the alarms. Zin, no, this is not good.
Dave, I don't have to sound the alarms. I explained it to you and the betting nation of SportsGrid last night. This is betting 101. If the Yankees are plus 700 to win the World Series, and you bet $100 on the Yankees to win the World Series, you lose $100. That's how this goes. I've told you how this story ends repeatedly. I know how it ends. I don't need to watch it. I have never been more apathetic in my 40-plus years of life about the Yankees than I am right now, because I know how this ends. It does not matter. I will watch because I want my kids to watch, but I won't watch with any actual care and concern like this team actually has a chance to go win a World Series, because they don't. And this Garrett Cole news was the nail in the coffin. And at the end of the movie, so they just write Finn, F-I-N. That's what this was, Finn. The end of the movie is that Yankees do not win the World Series. So have a nice day. Garrett Cole, I hope your elbow's okay. Have fun polishing the Cy Young with your left arm. You'll get to keep it for the rest of your life. You won't win a World Series in New York. And guess what? It's not going to matter. You know what? For kicks and giggles, I want them to sign Trevor Bauer so the entire collective New York media can lose their minds. I want them to sign Trevor Bauer. That's what I'm hoping for. At least that'll be interesting. I'd like to watch the New York fans react to Trevor Bauer taking them out. And then when he actually goes lights out, the entire city's going to love him. And that's what must-watch TV for me. But, yeah, so don't bet on the Yankees. It's a waste of your money. The betting public
sign Snell now?
Well, according to George Kurtz, no, because they're too cheap because they don't want to pay the luxury tax. I told you what I would do with Blake Snell. It's very simple. If I'm the Yankees, I call up Scott Boras and go 1 year, 30, 35 million. That's it. Done. Now, that's going to put up a luxury tax, but you're not going to risk signing Blake Snell long-term because the Yankees have become an analytic nerd franchise who all of a sudden cares about things like walks and, righty-lefty and, BABIP and XFIP and, just the tip, whatever it is. I don't know. But all of that, it does not matter when it comes to the way that they are penny pinching right now with this franchise. So you're a $5 billion franchise, and you're going to whine to me about $110 million in luxury tax? Oh, get bent. Get that Dodd. Get the hell out of here with that crap. Go sit on the Major Deegan with that news and traffic. Have fun.
Ooh. I do think, though, that one might consider Garrett Cole a decorated pitcher. I'm just saying, one might throw that out there and say, right? Is it decorated pitcher? You mentioned it. He's got the hardware there, so I would consider that to be decorated. Who we'll never see on the mound this year. So good stuff with your decorations there. Let's head over to college basketball if we could here, Zin, because we do have a couple of games underway, still a couple to go. In fact, by the way, Stony Brook on top of Hofstra by 5, 30-25. St. Mary's opened up as a 9.5-point favorite. It got steamed up to 11.5 this morning. I think that's where it went off. It's knotted up 20 apiece. St. Mary's dominated them this year here with a couple of wins, blowout in one game. It was back and forth the next game. Were you leaning one way or the other here? Is St. Mary's and Gonzaga, are they destined to meet each other again in this tournament?
Feels that way. Again, you get to a coin flip scenario between these two teams, which I'd probably take the Zags. They seem to have had St. Mary's number other than losing the game at home earlier this year. But, this is a classic, 1-2 matchup that we've anticipated all season long. The two teams out of their class are the West Coast Conference. So, I'm sorry, the WAC, right? West Coast is the other. I get confused.
Yes.
It's a specific time zone. That's out Dave's neck of the woods. I don't pay attention to teams. Yeah. But that said, I think these two teams are destined for it. If either one of these teams gets upset here, it would be a major shock. And I would tell you this much, any team that's on the bubble does not want to see that happen, right? Because then you got to give a chance of giving out two, at-large bids away from the WAC instead of just one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Well, what about Portland State and Montana? It's an under the radar type game, right? All right. So and like Big Sky Conference, this is just to be clear for the people. Montana is probably a pretty good basketball team. And you look at that number and you go 7. Portland State. Why in the world would I take Portland State? That's what I thought. So I just wanted to confirm with you and get you to and change the subject of the Yankees and
no, I appreciate
Portland
that, David.
State, no shot, right? It's no shot. We laid this with Montana, right?
But you wanted to get him off the topic. You're the one who put him on the damn topic. You knew exactly what you were going to get.
I wanted him to
the minute
deliver
you threw
the
it
line,
out there.
and he delivered the line. When you bet 0 or when you bet 100 on the Yankees to win a World Series, you lose 100. What do you do with the Grizz? Look at this fancy graphic. We have to get the graphic.
This is nice. It is nice.
It's lay it.
Yep.
It's lay it with the Grizz.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah. And again, that total feels a little low to me. If you look at where Portland State's been playing a lot of their games in the high 140s, low 150s, same with Montana. You know, I mean, they had a couple of games like against Sacramento State, they were down in the 130s. Same with Portland State because Sacramento State's a low-scoring offense and a decent defense. But other than that, you know, I would expect this game to go over. I think both of these teams can score. You're talking about a Montana team that averages over 77 points a game, and Portland averages nearly 72. And they give up a lot, Portland, too. They give up almost 75 a game if you count road games, I guess, neutral site, but anything away from home is the case. So I think the game also goes over. And if it does, it probably favors Montana to cover that number.
I have one more question, Joe. Just let me get this in.
Yes, go ahead. No, please do. Yes. Yes.
Because, you know, now you can't leave. He stayed for an extra segment. I got to ask. The Knicks and the Sixers played yesterday, and it was an abomination. I mean, it was – I don't even know what that was. It was basketball, what it looked like in the 1960s. They play again tomorrow, okay? I'm looking at the look-ahead number. It was Knicks minus 7.5 or 8 yesterday, and the look-ahead number for tomorrow is Knicks minus 4.5. Somehow the total's 215.
Oh, that's insane.
You're a New York guy. I mean, it's got to be. What do we do?
Here was the comparison. The final score of the Knicks-Sixers was 79-73. The final score of South Carolina LSU women's conference basketball SEC championship game was 79-72. So they scored one more point than LSU South Carolina women's basketball did last night. Just a comparison, you know, make of it what you will.
And they had a fight, and they were like they looked like they were ferociously wanted to play. There was a lot of action. I fell asleep 3 times during the Knicks and the Sixers. I tried my best to watch it. Just bet under again, and we go from there. That was a really good
Zen, we want to give you some good news before you leave, all right? Because it's been a rough day, it sounds like, from you. But does it make you feel better that the Warriors are up 10 now with about 4 minutes to go in the third? I'm just saying. Does it make you feel that's the kind of guy I am. Zen, we appreciate it. We'll close out coming up here on the grid.
The Bostonian versus the Book.
In the Big Ten, it's the same thing. No offense to you guys. This feels like the Penn State rule. This feels like this is the guaranteed Penn State to get in.
We need to find a way to let them in because they can't beat Michigan. They can't beat Ohio State. But if we make them a third,
they get in.
Third,
this is the Penn State
rule. Be better than the West half.
Yep.
And that 1 year that Lightning in a Bottle catches on the West half, we'll let them in too because they'll bring people.
The Bostonian versus the Book.
The Brooks are treating the Celtics 4 points better at minimum than maybe every single team in the NBA. And so far, I believe they've covered every game since the break.
The Celtics' strict goal here, anything less than a finals appearance and a finals championship is going to be a failure for the Celtics. They got all the pressure in the world across the board here.
Game time decisions only on SportsGrid.
Laying points on the road in college basketball is an absolute landmine. I would not do it. I won't do it the rest of the year. I'm done doing that because it just consistently loses.
I mean, 3 possessions in a 9-point game in which the opposition now is the clock, not the actual team you're facing, right?
Right.
And these guys are taking up shots. I mean, it's just like, that's why it's the NBA.
InGame Live, prime time, only on SportsGrid. SportsGrid, your 24/7 sports wagering network. Pro League Soccer, powered by Marca.
I would be willing to bet the under 2.5 goals.
Fantasy sports today.
Especially in head-to-head formats in fantasy, I think I'm going to go with Juan Soto.
Game time decisions.
People don't like it. I don't really care. I cannot believe anybody is betting the Clippers at this number.
Betting above the
All
rim.
I've heard you say on the network is you're either winning or you're rebuilding.
InGame Live All Access.
Nobody has been more profitable as a dog than Shaka Smarty.
Winning back-to-back road games. I don't care if they're playing Topeka High. I wouldn't give them any chance whatsoever.
InGame Live. PrimeTime.
Back-to-back, just utterly stinker quarters.
InGame Live. Overtime.
Honestly, as you sit here and listen, watch right now, you may want to consider placing that bet.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in. It is InGame Live, and we are PrimeTime here on the SportsGrid Network. Joe Raineri alongside Dave Sharapan. It's been one heck of a day here as we try to sort through the craziness that has been the opening day of NFL free agency with a lot of very well-known players who have been with teams for a while. I'm just saying, I'm not saying I don't know what you're talking about. I'm just saying there's a lot of people switching teams, which fans are, nobody likes change, right? I mean, Saquon now is a Philadelphia Eagle. Giant fans are not happy about that. I believe Austin Eckler also changed jerseys now. He'll be with with Washington, if I'm not mistaken. He's on his way there. Josh Jacobs, no longer a Raider. He's a Green Bay Packer. And the Raiders have found their quarterback. Problem solved here as Gardner Minshew is heading to Las Vegas here, and that should be a lot of fun. And, I forgot also, Russell Wilson is the quarterback of the Pittsburgh Steelers. So that's got to be a lot of fun. Just saying, that's got to be fun. Because you know what? Out of all of the craziness here today, Dave, you want to know the best thing out of all of it is that not one peep, not one ridiculous, disgusting move, not even remotely mentioned, are the New York Jets anywhere in trying to win free agency here. That is, to me, maybe the best sign of things to come for the Jets, that they are not under any circumstances a part of this ridiculousness here today, right? So glass has got to be half full, even if you have a 50-year-old Aaron Rodgers at quarterback. Yes, they do. Mm-hmm. Ooh. Mm-hmm.
Better odds, paying than the Giants right now. I wanted to ask Taylor this, and I'm sorry I didn't, but I'll ask you. People are leaving Dallas. Pollard leaving Dallas? That's a big move, little sneaky move, right? Last year for Dak?
Yep.
What are we doing? I get the feeling that I think Dallas is going to have an uphill battle, at least right now, before the draft. I would have moved the Eagles to the favorite today. I just would have, just to see if I could get some Dallas money. You think Philadelphia or Dallas to win that division as of today? Nothing hold you to nothing. I'm just asking.
Listen, I don't like either of them. I like the Giants to actually take a step forward there with Danny Dimes. I actually like the Giants. I think getting Burns on the defensive side of the ball is huge. I do think that given the uncertainty with some of these other teams, I mean, listen, Washington is going to be better, right? The Giants are going to be better. But let me ask you this. How much better is Philadelphia today? There's going to be some changes on that offensive line. There is still some question marks about Jalen Hurts, ironically enough. And we know what we're going to get with Dallas. We're going to get a team that, great regular season, but ultimately underperforms when it matters the most. So what does that leave us? Well, the two teams I think that are out there trying to improve their teams, to your point, Dave, were Washington and Dallas and the Giants here today. So I would put my money on them.
Really? I'm surprised that you said that. I'm surprised.
Tell me how Dallas, you just brought it up. How did Dallas get any better here today? I don't think they did, right?
I don't think they did. I think they got worse. And I think just by process of elimination, that makes Philadelphia better. Maybe that's not right, but I would actually make Philly the small favorite and see if we could get some Dallas money. Because nobody repeats in that division, right? It's like the first time.
Mm-hmm.
Last time somebody did it was 2003, 20 years or something like that. So, I just peeked down, Joe, the score. The Golden State Warriors. I don't think the Spurs have scored since before Zeno was on. I have it as 90,
still there.
78. They're up 12. Yep. I hope people got the signal. I hope they did not get the signal, though, with the Bruins. The Bruins ended up losing that game 5-1. No good. That was the game that gets – yeah, that wasn't good.
No. 32-18 run, Dave, to your point, in the third quarter by the Warriors. 32-18. Yes, that's a pretty good run there.
For the Denver Nuggets. What's the in-game right now for the Denver Nuggets? Because
is this a signal?
We're trailing like
Are you signaling?
It's under 6. As soon as you get under 6, send the alarm. Tell the boys, the ones that are on Hofstra, tell them probably because they're probably going to need a play. Time to bet the Nuggets. Less than 6.
I agree.
Lay it.
Yep.
Lay it.
And let me also mention here that it is a 15-4, second quarter run by the Toronto Raptors right now. 49-36 is what we are seeing there. And also, there's about 25 seconds left. It's going to come down to the wire. 113-111 Suns on top of the Cavs. Now, the Cavs did drop 70 in the first half, but they were only up 70-63. Obviously, that has flipped now, but it does look like they're reviewing a possible turnover here, and we'll have to see what's going on. But again, it's going to come down to 26 seconds left. It is going to come down to the final couple of possessions here. Not going to come down to the final couple of possessions for the Bulls. They wish they just never showed up here, although you can lay 32.5 with Dallas, and that's probably not a bad bet at 102-65 in the fourth quarter there. I am seeing the Nuggets minus 3.5, 51-36 here, Dave. Do we pull the trigger? Are you sending a signal?
Sending a signal. Yeah, we're going to have to add this little feature, some sort of the goal horn or some beat.
Love it.
Like sound the alarm. Time for the in-game play.
Love it.
Yeah, it's time to bet the Nuggets right now. Yes. Under 2 baskets. You got 3.5? Yeah, it's time. We get one of those nice runs, close the second quarter, and I'm not saying we'll be tied, but be a manageable number. We go on a 10-0 run. This line goes to 10.5 favored.
I agree.
So we're only laying 2.5. Yeah, unload, Joe. That's it's time to make a play.
What do we do? What do we do with the Celtics in Portland here at what is that? 11.5. I'm seeing here, Dave. 221. This is the first of a back-to-back for Boston. They'll end their road trip in Utah tomorrow. Mm-hmm. What are we thinking? We know no Holiday, right? We know no Porzingis Holiday, but Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, and Derek White are going here, which means I'm sure those other 3 guys will be going tomorrow against Utah. What are we doing here? I mean, this seems like just lay it with Boston, no?
So for years, when you work in a book, like when you go into work, say you go in at noon today and you look at the board and you go, again, I need the Raptors. Again,
Yep.
I need Portland again. Now that I'm out of that life on the other side of the counter, not having to go work at a sports book, I like to sometimes pick the favorite. It's way more fun. I don't want to have to need bad teams, especially after the NBA All-Star break. So, listen, our guy Patrick, I don't want to get on his bad side ever.
Too late.
Picking Portland would probably be on the bad side of that. I don't want that. The problem with this, Joe, was 8 this morning. It was 8 or 8.5 this morning.
Yes.
Right? And now it's 11.5. At what point do you go, I'm late to the party? I hope we'll get down early and we'll do what we just did at Denver. And instead of laying 2 touchdowns, 14.5 or 15.5, we can lay 2.5. If the Celtics get off to a slow start, we get a much better number. You could try that. I don't want to lay a number that's 4 points off of what it was this morning. Agree or disagree?
I agree with you 100%. I mean, and it's kind of crazy because I'm looking right now, and again, that was what we have originally, Dave, 9.5, and then it got steamed up here, 8.5, even I think in some spots. Yeah. But then, what happened with Boston was the entire starting lineup of Brown, Tatum, Holiday, Porzingis, and White were all listed as questionable this morning. I mean, that was kind of a bit of an issue. So the 8.5 was, I think, mirroring the fact that nobody knew who the hell was playing. And then once we realized that Brown, Tatum, and White were going, then the money started to roll in here. But Portland doesn't have any surprises. It does look like Grant is going, which means that the big man is going there for him as well, DeAndre Ayton. This is the spot where Portland has played pretty good, been pretty profitable back, getting this many points here at home, where first of a back-to-back for the Celtics. But if the threes start rolling, this game is over by the half. I'll tell you what, Dave, how about Celtics first half? Expect them to go out there and you like it better? Yeah, I do too.
First half over, too.
Ooh,
Celtics have been
even
one of
better.
those where you can, if you find a number below 60 or at 60.5, they average close to 63.5 or 64 points, something like that. So sometimes you don't do it on the road trips, especially on the second of the back, which is tomorrow.
Yep.
But that's probably a good play. Is it a good play?
59.5, Dave.
59.5.
Celtics first half team total.
59.5, 60.5, or 61.5. When it's below 60, it's probably a play. Joe, I don't know. Is it time to send the alarm for the Hofstra Pride? The Hofstra, they're trailing to Stony Brook 32-30 at halftime. Is it time to sound the alarm? We got a lot of people, Hofstra people. Is it time, Joe? Would you do it? I don't even know what the number is. I can't even find it right now.
The Hofstra Pride? The Hofstra Pride are laying 4.5 still. Total 137.5. So doesn't seem like the book thinks, Dave, that Hofstra is sounding any alarms here. Sounds like maybe Hofstra's just getting warmed up. I still like the under. 62 points in the first half, Dave. I got 138 at a number. How are we getting that?
You see the in-game number? I got 137.5. It's right on the number. I was going to say 62. That puts you right on the number for the second half, 76, right? So,
yep.
Ah, man, I don't know, Joe. I don't know if you want to go double dip and go back on the under. Don't get me involved in this game, please.
Might not be a bad way to go here. Please. Well, listen, if Hofstra wins this game, it's not going to be a shootout. It's going to be Hofstra's going to pull away in this half because Stony Brook's just going to run out of gas and not be able to score a whole lot. Hofstra's got the ability to play some defense, so I got no problem jumping in on Hofstra. And also St. Mary's, boy, oh boy, we'll have an update with that one on Santa Clara as in-game live primetime wraps up. Coming up next.
The Bostonian versus the Book.
In the Big Ten, it's the same thing. No offense to you guys. This feels like the Penn State rule. This feels like this is the guaranteed Penn State to get in.
We need
This
to
Penn
find
State's
a way to let them in because they can't beat Michigan. They can't beat Ohio State. But
Right.
if we make them a third,
They get in.
third,
This is
they're
the Penn
always
State
going to
rule.
be better than the West half.
Yep.
And that 1 year that Lightning in a Bottle catches on the West half, we'll let them in too because they'll bring people.
The Bostonian versus the Book.
The books are treating the Celtics 4 points better at minimum than maybe every single team in the NBA. And so far, I believe they've covered every game since the break.
The Celtics' strict goal here, anything less than a finals appearance and a finals championship is going to be a failure for the Celtics. They got all the pressure in the world across the board here.
Game time decisions only on SportsGrid.
Laying points on the road in college basketball is an absolute landmine. I would not do it. I won't do it the rest of the year. I'm done doing that because it just consistently loses.
I mean, 3 possessions in a 9-point game in which the opposition now is the clock, not the actual team you're facing, right?
Right.
And these guys are taking up shots. I mean, it's just like, that's why it's the NBA.
InGame Live, prime time, only on SportsGrid. SportsGrid, your 24/7 sports wagering network. Pro League Soccer, powered by Marca.
I would be willing to bet the under 2.5 goals.
Fantasy sports today.
Especially in head-to-head formats in fantasy, I think I'm going to go with Juan Soto.
Game time decisions.
People don't like it. I don't really care. I cannot believe anybody is betting the Clippers at this number.
Betting above the
All
rim.
I've heard you say on the network is you're either winning or you're rebuilding.
InGame Live All Access.
Nobody has been more profitable as a dog than Shaka Smart Team.
Winning back-to-back road games. I don't care if they're playing Topeka High. I wouldn't give them any chance whatsoever.
InGame Live, prime time.
Back-to-back, just utterly stinker quarters.
InGame Live, overtime.
Honestly, as you sit here and listen, watch right now, you may want to consider placing that bet.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in here, InGame Live, prime time as we wrap up this edition. Joe Raineri alongside Dave Sharapan, the Sports Rage on deck. He's got you covered the rest of the way here. But before we get out, a couple of news and notes for you here. Number one, Sadiq Bey out for the season for the Atlanta Hawks, and it is like an ER room there for Atlanta. But good news for the Knicks, as Anunoby looks like he's ready to come back tomorrow, and they could use him after just an atrocious output yesterday against Philly. We are getting ready for the Zags here. Little late night action, Dave, out by you, the Dons and the Zags. I like the Zags. 7-8 days of rest. I think I thought they were undervalued to begin with. I think they're continuing to be undervalued. I got them winning the conference, and I got them in an Elite Eight Final Four situation as well.
Wow. I didn't know you were going to advance it that far. I was just like, what do you like tonight? I think you can lay the points tonight. I'm headed over to New Orleans after the show. We'll catch, hopefully, the end of the St. Mary's game and then the entire Gonzaga game. I'll report back to you. I think they're going to win as well. A lot of people are talking about them, Joe. This is when they used to not talk about them or talk bad about them before, and now that they're a little bit different, in a different position, a lot of people talking about them. I was so glad when you just said, about the NBA moves and different things like that you did not bring up any more NFL free agency, because you went over the total of number of times tonight about the move in Pittsburgh. And I don't want to talk about it anymore. I'm glad I don't have to talk about it.
What happened in Pittsburgh? I don't know what. No.
Thank you.
Oh, you mean Russell Wilson? As the new quarterback. Now, okay, you're right. Yeah, because I keep thinking he's with Denver, but he's not. He's now with Pittsburgh. I completely escaped me, Dave. I had no idea. But Have you ordered the Russell Wilson jersey? Yeah, listen,
No.
you got to get it going first and foremost here on the show. Bust out the jersey. Sports Rage coming up next here, guys. We'll see you again tomorrow in Game Live Prime Time.